Hi students, welcome to this online class. Today we are going to see about class 7 science chapter 4. The name of the lesson is heat. In this lesson we are going to see about what is heat and how to measure it. To measure the heat we use some device called thermometer and the types of thermometer and how do the heat get transferred from one place to another place. Shall we start our lesson? Hot and cold. How can we know that a substance is hot or cold? Is it possible to find a object heat by seeing it? No. We can understand if an object is hot or cold by the sense of touch. When we touch and feel only we can know that whether it is really hot or it's cold. However, it can trick us sometimes. Therefore, we use a thermometer. Thermometer, it is a device that can be used to find out how hot an object is. In other words, we use a thermometer to measure the temperature of an object. See the word temperature. What does mean by temperature? The temperature of an object, which means it is the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. So you have to know about these two words. First one is temperature. Temperature means it is the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. To measure this temperature, we use the thermometer. We use thermometer to measure the temperature. Types of thermometer. There are variety of types. We are going to see about 4 types in this class. First one, clinical thermometer, laboratory thermometer, maximum minimum thermometer and digital thermometer. Let us start with the clinical thermometer. It is a device that is used to measure the body temperature of a person. Whenever we have fever, we visit to hospitals and there they will check us our body temperature. That is known as clinical thermometer. It helps to measure the temperature of human body. It is made up of a glass tube of uniform thickness. The glass tube contains a bulb at one end which is filled with mercury. The mercury level in the thermometer rises up in the thread-like portion of the thermometer, which therefore indicates the temperature of the body. You have to know some important points here. See, clinical thermometer is used to measure the human body temperature and it is made up of a glass tube. In the glass tube at one end there is a bulb. In the bulb mercury is being filled. Why mercury has been filled means mercury is very sensitive of heat. When it senses a small heat change, it can immediately rise up. That is why we are using the mercury in this clinical thermometer. The level of the mercury can be measured by reading the scale given on the thermometer. The scale of the thermometer records the temperature in degrees Celsius, generally 35 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius, which is the range of human body temperature. On an average, the temperature of the human body is around 37 degrees Celsius. It is an important point that you have to aware of it. An average human body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius. The clinical thermometer has a small sharp curve which is known as kink present near the bulb. This prevents the mercury level from falling down on its own in the thermometer. Yes, see here, this is an overview of a clinical thermometer. It is made up of a uniform glass tube and they have mentioned the kink now. Near the kink, it's known as the bulb. In the bulb, mercury has been filled and the kink prevents falling down of mercury on its own. Next, how to use the clinical thermometer. Firstly, wash the thermometer with an antiseptic solution. Before and after using it, we have to wash it. Before taking the temperature, the thermometer is given a few jerks to bring down the level of mercury below 35 degrees Celsius. Because when we take it out, there's a chance to be the mercury level be in a different ranges. That's why you have to give a few jugs to bring them down. Then the thermometer is placed beneath the tongue for about a minute. Then you can take it out and observe the temperature reading on the thermometer. So this is how we have to use the clinical thermometer to find the temperature of a human body. Next, what precautions should be taken while using a clinical thermometer? As we seen earlier, wash the thermometer before and after using it. Make sure the temperature of the thermometer is below 35 degrees Celsius before taking the temperature. Keep the thermometer straight in order to see the mercury level precisely. You should not be tilted. So keep it very straight. It should always be held with a care or it can break down. You should not touch the bulb of thermometer at all. You should not touch the bulb because in the bulb only mercury has been placed. So if you touch means it chance should be expand. So we should not touch the bulb. Next, laboratory thermometer. The laboratory thermometer is used to find out the temperature of the other objects such as water rather than the human body temperature. See, this laboratory thermometer is generally used in different labs. In the school labs it been used, and this laboratory thermometer is not fit to find the temperature of human body. It can measure the temperature from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. What precautions should be taken when using a laboratory thermometer? More or less the things will be same. You should always follow the same precautions as that of the clinical thermometer. You should always hold the laboratory thermometer in a straight upright position without tilting it. The bulb of the thermometer should never touch the surface of the container in which the substance is kept. However, the bulb of the thermometer should be completely immersed in the substance so that it covers the bulb from all the sides. The other types, maximum minimum thermometer. It is a thermometer used to measure the minimum and maximum temperature of the day by weather forecasters. It is not used by us, it will be used by the weather forecasters. In the newspaper you can see that the maximum minimum temperature, mostly in the every newspaper they will place it. Next, digital thermometer. It is sometimes difficult to handle a mercury filled thermometer, especially when it breaks and the mercury falls out, because the mercury is not good for our human body. When it breaks down, immediately we have to move out of that place because the mercury will react with the air and it causes some breathing trouble. So we should be very careful while handling the clinical thermometer. By chance, if it is broken means immediately we have to move out of that place. We can come back, we can clean it after 10 to 15 minutes, but till that we have to move away. However, nowadays digital thermometers are available to use. This type of thermometer does not contain mercury. It directly displays the current temperature on a display screen. So this is the digital thermometers. It should not have a mercury, but it shows a exact temperature of a human body. Next, the transfer of heat. How does the heat get transferred from one place to another place? Let's see that. The flow of heat always takes place from an hot object to a cold object. Generally, heat will transfer from an hot object to a cold object. Conduction. The process of flow of heat from a hot object to a cold object is called conduction. Some objects can conduct heat while others cannot. The objects that can allow the heat to flow through them are called conductors. For example, metals such as copper and aluminum. These things allow the heat to pass through them, so they are called conductors. If not, they are called insulators. The objects that do not allow the flow of heat from them are called insulators. For example, wood and plastic. Next, convection. The transfer of heat in liquids and gases is called convection. The molecules of the liquid or gases that are near the source of the heat get heated first. They become lighter due to the heat and move upwards. The colder particle being heavier take the place, and this process continues until the whole liquid or the gas gets heated. So this is the model of convection. In the red colored arrows denotes the warm molecules. When the molecules become heat, they will expand and they go upwards, and the upper surface will be cool, so the particles will be quite heavier than the warmer one, so they come down. When they come down, they get heated and they become warm, so they goes up. This process continues, the cycle continues till the whole liquid get heat. Radiation. It is a process of transfer of heat in the form of waves. For example, the sun's heat reaches the earth's surface through radiation. Every hot object radiates some heat into the environment. Hence, many times an object gets heated just by being near to a hot object. Yes, it occurs. For example, when you are cooking, if you stand near to the stove and you keep on cooking, means you can touch your dress. It be hot. Why? Means the hot object generally radiates some heat. That's why your dress also get heat. And for this radiation purpose, no medium is required. For conduction takes place in the solids. It may be a conductor or insulator, but conduction process takes place generally in the solids. And in liquids and gases, convection takes place. But the radiation does not require any medium. Without a medium, the radiation can pass up. Next, sea breeze and land breeze. The wind blowing from the sea towards the land is called sea breeze. During the daytime, the land in the coastal area gets heated due to the sun's radiation. The sea also gets heated. However, it takes more time to get heated up than the land. Hence, the air above the land gets heated faster than the air above the sea. The hot air from the land rises above as it lighter, and the cool air from the sea, being heavier, takes its place. This results in the sea breeze. The same we have seen the convection. When the sun's temperature is high, both the land and water get heated, but land get heated faster. So the air become warmer and lighter in the land. Hence, above the water, it's not heated fast, so the air molecule will be quite cool. So the heavier particles will move from the sea towards the land. When the air moves from the sea towards the land, it's known as the sea breeze. Then what about the land breeze? It's just opposite. Let's see that next. Just see here, ma. In the daytime, land warmer, sea cooler. Due to the warmth, the air above the land get warm air, and air above the sea will be a cold one. Hence, the wind move from the sea towards the land. Next, land breeze. It's just a vice versa of sea breeze. The wind blowing from the land towards the sea is called land breeze. During the night time, the land in the coastal area gets cooled down faster than the sea. The air above the sea is hotter than the air above the land. Therefore, the air above the sea rises, and the air from the land, being cool, flows towards the sea. This results in the land breeze. So I hope you will be clear about the sea breeze and land breeze. You see here, in the daytime, land cool faster than the sea. That's why we mentioned here as land cooler and sea warmer. Due to the warmth, the air become warm above the sea, and it moves towards the land, and the cold air from the land move towards the sea. Why do we wear light colored clothes in summer? Yes, it's a quite interesting topic. Is there any connection between the dresses that we wear related with the heat, related with the sun's temperature. The light colored clothes reflect the heat back into the environment and keep us cool during the summer time. Yes, it's a just quite interesting one. That's why our parents always scold us when we choose to wear black dresses. They say it's not good, but the true reason behind it is the dark colored clothes absorb the heat and the light colored clothes emits the heat. It just reflects it back. That is why we preferably paint the light colored in our houses. Whenever we get a chance to paint a house, we prefer to paint only some light colors, either in a green or yellow. Like those colors are preferable because the light color reflect the heat back to the environment. Then what about the dark color? The dark color will absorb the heat. The dark colors are preferably to wear in the winter time. That is why most of our sweaters, raincoats and even some jerkins will be in dark colors. It may be in a black or brown or in dark red. Like those it will be generally dark because the dark colors will absorb the heat. How do woolen clothes keep us warm? Yes, it's also a quite interesting one. Whenever we feel cold, we prefer to wear sweaters or we just cover ourselves with any bed sheet. How does it keep us warm? The woolen cloths are a bad conductor of heat, which means it does not conduct heat. Therefore, they do not allow the heat from the body to move out in the environment. As a result, the air present between the woolen cloths and our body becomes hot, and this makes us feel warm. Similarly, two thin blankets provide more heat than one thick blanket because air can be trapped between the two thin blankets. So whenever you feel very cold, you can use two blankets, two bed sheets. So what you have learned in this lesson? Let's recall once. Initially I start with the what is temperature. Temperature means it's a degree of hotness or coldness of an object. To measure the temperature, we use thermometer. Thermometer is a device which helps to measure the temperature. And we have seen 4 types of thermometer: clinical thermometer, laboratory thermometer, maximum minimum thermometer, and digital thermometer. Next we have seen about the transfer of heat in a solids, liquid and without any medium. In a solids, it takes place in the conduction. In liquids and gases, it takes place through convection, and the radiation does not require any medium. Next we have seen about the sea breeze and land breeze. The wind blowing from the sea towards the land is called sea breeze, and as a vice versa, the wind blowing from the land towards the sea is known as land breeze. At last we have seen how do woolen cloths keep us warm. Thank you all. We'll meet you all in the next class. Thank you.